Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Well, looking outside my studio windows, one thing I see is it is a bright, sunny morning. Well, I don't know which part of the country you are, but at least for Kampala, I can confirm within the central business town and of course uptown, it is fairly a good weather. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Extra. I'm Robert Kirabo Nyonyintono. We thank God for the gift of life. So much is happening, but by His grace, we are here. And we are hopeful and prayerful that this is going to be a better week. It is a Monday, and it's exactly 5 minutes past 9 a.m. Good Morning Uganda Extra. A reminder, this is an extension of Good Morning Uganda that starts at 6:30. So every day, why not make it a date and start your day with us? The Fantastic Four plus a big team behind the machines that ensure we come your way to kickstart your morning with so much of laughters. We spice up your mornings, we brighten up your day, no matter how dark the night could have been. So do not miss, because we entertain you, but above all, it is a very informative show to kickstart your day, because you get to know what is happening locally and internationally. Now, today we are going to look at the manifesto implementation. We've begun the manifesto week that was launched by the Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Robin Anabanja, on Friday, and it's going to run till the 26th, and that will be this week. Now, one of the things we must understand is that in a multi-party dispensation, the political system we chose, candidates or political parties now away from independence have a manifesto, and this is the document that Ugandans depended on to vote for the NRM government, the manifesto for 2021-2026. It is a document that contains the pledges of the current government as the party in power, what they promised us. And if you remember very well, it had a very lovely theme that was securing your future. Now, the NRM party, through its manifesto, pledged a number of commitments of improving the livelihood of Ugandans through its manifesto. And one of them is that it aimed at modernizing Uganda through job creation, I love that, and inclusive development. Job creation and inclusive development. Inclusive means nobody is left behind. The theme was securing your future. Now, joining me on set is a young man, and this is Marvin Senkungu, an economist with the Manifesto Implementation Unit, Office of the President. You're most welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good morning, our viewers, and thank you for hosting me here in the studios of UBC.
Well, I'm very excited to hear how far you have gone with implementation of the manifesto. And my viewer, I'm going to be looking at 5 key areas of this manifesto, because there's so much commitment that is in this manifesto. But in the interest of time, allow me focus at 5 major areas that we are going to be discussing with my guest and see how far the NRM has gone in achieving, in implementing its pledges, because we signed a commitment with you people, a contract.
Yes,
that we elect you in power, you're going to do this. And I want to begin with the most pressing issue of many Ugandans. That is creating jobs and wealth for all. Times are hard. Many Ugandans, you find them on the streets. Many are saying even the few jobs available, they are hard to get. Others are saying even when we try, there are things that put us down. So when we talk about job creation and wealth for all, how far have you gone?
Thank you very much, Bwana Kirabo. You know, at the start of, this manifesto is running from 2021 to 2026. And the people of Uganda, as you rightly mentioned, gave confidence to the NRM party to steer them for the next, 5 years, right? So, as you mentioned, the manifesto is comprised of 5 thematic areas, and indeed, the element of job creation is one of the critical one, actually the first one. So, in the manifesto, the core focus now was to go down to the people. And we went down through what we call now the parish development model, right? This is where we're building the confidence of the people, yes? And, the parish development model is the key game changer this time around for enabling us, one, transform the people in terms of wealth creation and ensuring that actually we are creating further jobs, at the local area. The other day, on Labor Day, the president mentioned that if we handle the parish development model well, we can be able to create over 7 million jobs, 70 million jobs, even more than the population of Uganda. What does this mean? In the first year of implementation of a parish development model, we've been able to establish circles. We have 7 pillars within there, but there are some critical, should I say, structures and basics that you need to begin with. We began with the parish executive committees, ensuring that these ones are in place. And these are the people that are the leaders. We have parish chiefs who have to be in place to mobilize the people in their parishes. Now, when we put up those committees, then we are now financing them with money. And as I can tell you right now, we've been able to distribute over 190 billion shillings to these circles. Now, we expect the people to use these funds to propel production at local level. And this is where the money is, right? The president keeps saying that we are implementing the 4-acre model. Have an area for production, right? Have an area, where you can stay within the, if you have an acre, and ensure that when you produce, you add value to what you're producing so that you earn more from what you're producing. Initially, people, yes, you can say, used to produce, but could hardly transform these, what they are producing or what they have from the gardens. They had challenges in adding value, but now the PDM is saying, we are giving you money. If you're generating bananas, can you transform them? People are now producing powder, bananas right now in powder, and they're looking out for markets.
Marvin, that well said. If we talk about job creation and wealth for all, and we talk about the parish development model, one would say since its launch on the 26th that is, of February, this seems having challenges at the initial start. For example, theoretically, when you talk about how much money has been given out, when you talk about committees being put in place, theoretically, statistically, it could mean sense and sound. But practically and at ground, we find that this is a program that kicking off is still having a number of challenges. The initial stages. It's a very good thing when you read about it, but implementation, and this has always been the challenge of NRM. I would say Youth Livelihood was a good program. Bona Bagagare was a good program. Even the Antandikwa, when had Chisamba Mugerwa. But the biggest problem has been implementation.
Yes.
Because that is what we find.
Yes.
People have, can you imagine, money is on SACCO's accounts, but people cannot withdraw this money because there are some challenges. Time is moving.
I agree with you, and this is always expected in the beginning of implementation of such programs. Ideally, we anticipate that, people have to use this money for production purposes. You know, there's a thinking that actually this is like a casino money, which is a wrong mentality, right? But the element and idea here that government is saying that we are financing you at local level so that you can actually add value to what you're producing to create more income and create jobs for the people. And I think when we hear from the success stories from the Manifesto Week, we shall be getting more testimonies on how people and the youth are being transformed through the PDM. You know, you've mentioned those previous programs, but you know, the PDM is a little bit special from the others because the PDM, we are focusing at planning at the parish level. The other ones are a little bit higher, but now it is inclusive planning and participatory planning by all people. If we are 5, or if we are, 10,000 in a parish, and we are generating, for us, maybe we are generating cassava, we are going to use this money to invest and maybe get more factors of production and improve our production capacity so that we can sell more and, you know, take home more as a family.
Well, rightly said when you talk about the PDM being different, planning and all that, but when you talk about job creation and wealth creation, inclusive, it means it looks at a couple of many people. Now, Uganda has a challenge. We have one of the youngest population in the world. We have high unemployment rates. And the PDM looks at transforming the 39% of Ugandans who are not in the money economy to bring them in the money economy. But we have the elite, these educated, jobless youth that finish university, they go to the streets, and there's nothing or nobody frustrated as an educated person who is not employed. So what programs are there? Because much as you talk about transforming these in the rural areas, you still have a huge chunk who want and who voted believing that their future is secured. Years down, they don't understand what is happening.
No, you know, within the manifesto, there is a targeted program on industrial, creating industrial hubs, right? And this is the key game changer for many of the youth that are skilled, that may not be actually having, may not be employed at the moment. One, what are these industrial hubs doing? They are targeting, skilling people. You know, most of the people who may not be employed at this moment are those that undertook theoretical, skill set. And this is the major chunk of the programs and courses that we are having within the universities. But the NRM government, within the manifesto, was quick to have a turnaround in that. We are establishing industrial hubs within various regions of the country. And these ones are helping to target those youth that you are really talking about, and they are providing them with skills that are really hands-on, be it tailoring, be it construction, plumbing, and I can assure you these are the kind of skills that can actually enable someone to provide a service, that is demand-driven, not someone who will say that my papers are here, right? And I can assure you, Bwana Kirabo, that when you hear the testimonies of the 2,000 youth that we've been able to churn out right now, these are the people who are kind of now starting up their own businesses. And I can assure you, if well-financed and resourced, I'm sure the future will be better, secure, and brighter for these young youth come 5 years from now. Yes.
Now, when we talk about still unemployment or wealth creation for all, you've talked about these hubs, but one of the challenges I've over time understood is there's so much will by the NRM. There's so much desire to see that a manifesto is implemented. But still, there's so much greed to benefit from all these. I must say, I've visited a number of these hubs. You find some defunct machines, some machines that have never been used in some of them. Then you also find a bit of pulling here and there. At the end of the day, I must say, the intended purpose for these hubs, there is one, I think it is on this Chireka Banda, one where you get it. For some time, a machine that could have been used, people, and you don't understand it. Do you lack cadres? Is it greed? Is it because good intentions are not implemented because some of these things would benefit? But at the end of the day, trivial issues become very important and fail these programs.
I agree with you, and you know, there are so many administrative things that you have to get right for many of these programs to really be a success. You know, I mean, in one way or another, you might find that there's maybe weak coordination within, you know, the implementing parties, because, you know, someone can install a machine, but when electricity has not reached yet, you know. So ideally, I agree with you. There are some challenges really that we cannot say that implementation is a smooth road, especially in the beginning, first year of implementation. But yes, it is upon us to really look into this on a case-by-case basis, and then really kind of provide solutions to them, because these are commitments, and these commitments are taking a lot of investments, right? I agree with you, but you know, there are some areas where these things are a success and they are being they are implemented, they are moving on well. Go to the north, you know, go to Lira. People are benefiting from these industrial hubs. You see, so some of these one or two failures cannot really overshadow what the big success that has been attained so far. Yes.
Finally, before we leave job creation and worth for all, what isn't NRM getting right in this area? Because I must say that sometimes I feel you're everywhere and end up being nowhere, failing to master which particular area should we concentrate in. I want to give you there is money for youth to go and borrow in the banks. There is a specific cutaway for the women in overcoming poverty. Now we have PDM is looking at the same. There are so many programs that are aimed at fighting poverty. However, these are not in tandem with the investment that we are putting in. And continuously, we are doing the same thing. There could be slight technical changes here and there. Because when you look at the budget that is aiming at job creation, wealth creation, and if we are to analyze the impact, of course one would say this is a process, but it seems the relationship, they are not in tandem at all. What is that we are lacking to say, let's take this very route? If it's creating an atmosphere for people to work, let's do that. We've given. But every time you'll find challenges, recovery challenges becoming a problem. Some youth run away from these programs and they run with chunks of money.
You know, the critical thing is about the person you're planning for, right? That individual, is he having the same ideology that you are having? That is the key game changer. Because, Kirabo, even if I take a road near your household, but you still remain sleeping, development will not come into your house.
Yeah, I've seen that with electricity.
You know?
Rural electrification.
Exactly.
You go through an entire village, they have the electric poles,
yes,
they have the wires,
yes,
but out of a village of 1,000 people,
yes,
none is connected, and the electricity goes to Echumacho Muyindi.
So you see, ideally, it is upon us to awaken these people, right? That is why PDM has mindset change. And you see, mindset change not only applies to the local person, but even to the leaders, you know. How are we equipping these people with the knowledge that, you know what, this service is next to your door and you need to utilize it, you know? Because, you know, if they say you can take a horse to the well, but you cannot force it to drink, you know? And this is the message that I think the party leader has been echoing. Kulambala, people are sleeping. They need to be reawakened to tell them that, you know, China is moving very fast. If you compare the youth in China and the youth here, something is not adding up, you know. So, and it also goes back to the fact that, you know, some people are viewing this money as, you know, something to be eaten. And yet it is money for production. So it is all about how are we preparing the minds of these people. And that is why we are investing a lot in mindset change, you know, to ensure that actually people can say, I have two hands. If I dig, I need to ensure that I take my rice or my posho to a coffee, to, you know, to a maize milling, you know, factory to produce more and export. We've been having challenges of post-harvest handling. People produce and they put on the road and we get aflatoxins. And then those produce don't attract market. Can we utilize these services? Just build that within your head, that I need to have something that I'm taking away. And this is why people have to listen into these reports. If they say that, for example, we've put up industry hubs, do you know where that industry hub is? Can you benefit from it? You know? I mean, the government, as you say, puts there the enabling environment, but it is up to you as an individual to utilize this enabling environment. And it begins with you as a Ugandan.
Well, we're still looking at the NRM manifesto implementation. We are in the manifesto week looking at how far NRM has gone as far as fulfilling the pledges it made in its manifesto for 2021-2026, which theme was securing your future. How far has the government, the party in power, gone by? And as far as job creation and wealth for all, well, my guest here says the PDM and other initiatives are something they believe will do that transformation. Quickly, I want us to move to delivering of education and health and water. Now, this is also another critical area among the five. And when we look at education, education is a right. And being a right means it's available, affordable, accessible. One of the expensive things in the country today is education. Recently, I saw a committee, the Committee of Parliament on Education invited Makerere University. And very painfully, when I had the Vice Chancellor saying that on average, 1,000 students drop out at Makerere because of failure to pay their tuition. Of course, we know we have interventions, but they are limited. We have the State House, we have the higher education loan scheme, but they are very minimal. How far have you gone as far as implementation, beginning with education?
Yeah, let me just highlight that, of course, dropouts has a lot of factors.
Very true.
Very true. Very, very many factors. And, you know, some can be attributed to government, but initially, they also be attributed to the individual who is actually going to the school. Because, you know, the person can be in school and doesn't have money, right? And that goes back to wealth creation, you know, because the man can be bright, but the funds fail him, right? Now, in terms of education, let me just highlight one key commitment that we actually undertook in the NRM manifesto. That one was creation of establishing seed schools in various sub-counties, ensuring that actually people can access it. You said it is a right. And you know, this builds on the UPE programs, because you know, some of them, UPE could churn out very many, you know, but they could fail to access the credible secondary schools because of the high cost of education. And this is where we are saying that now we have to establish seed secondary schools, you know, and I can assure you, we've been able to establish and commission of around 102 schools at this time. So now, when we get this, and I've been told within the next 2 years, government is looking towards having free education at primary and secondary level. Now, at tertiary, it will be, I'm sure, there are thoughts around that, you know. So, when we have these secondary schools in place, we are able to, and these schools are going to have two aspects. We are taking theory and also vocation to ensure that actually people who fail to maybe make it through the theoretical bit can be having the vocational skills.
The vocational skills,
yes. So, you know, I think if we get our basics right with the education system, with the structures, and ensure that actually the people who are also teaching the learners, as you had the other day, government was able to ensure that scientists are now enhanced in salary. And, you know, this is the drive to ensure that we entice more people into the science bit of it. And, you know, science will play a big role in ensuring that actually we instigate, we kind of promote innovations among the youth, you know. So I think in regard to education, I think those critical elements of the structures and ensuring that the people are, the teachers are, you know, in place and well remunerated will go a long way in promoting and securing the future of the learners.
Well, that sounds good, I must say. And of course, when we see the commitment of how many seed schools have been established so far, about 3 years down the road, is something to say good.
Yes.
But education is not simply going to a classroom or having a structure. It is what you study. It is measured on the product that comes out. Now, we're in a country, just like many countries, where we have private and public or government. Government of Uganda has done fairly fair when it comes to having these schools. But the question remains the quality of education. Remember, all these at the end of the day are different examinable levels nationally. Sit the same exams. But it seems day by day the gap is increasing. How do we ensure that government can also look at quality, not to have people who believe they have gone through school, but at the end of the day, I want a half-baked. And you know what I'm talking about? How many of us today would prefer children to say, let them try a public school? I'm very sure yours are not in a public school.
By the way, to cut you short, it is only in the education sector, actually, and the health sector, where the public you know, institutions are actually leading in terms of creating demand for the learners, you know, vis-a-vis the private. You know, the private, they has to be exceptionally good to outwit the public. For example, name schools like SMARC, you know, all these are, you know, basically public driven, you know.
My brother, now when you talk about the likes of SMARC, if you look at, anyway, I think we better tackle this after the break.
Okay.
We'll return shortly.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Eyange irisiti tompa bidara irisiti ojja kumpa irisiti tompa bidara irisiti ojja kumpa irisiti tompa bidara mpa irisiti yange.
That's right. Insist on getting your e-receipt. It's your ticket to fantastic prizes, including motorbikes, laptops, fridges, and a fully paid 6-day safari for 2 in Uganda. Take a picture of your e-receipt, upload it to the URA website or mobile app, and you could be the lucky winner. The more receipts you upload, the higher your chances of winning. Terms and conditions apply. More details on our social media channels.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together. The Tales of Kasozi, brought to you by Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello? This is Kasozi. How can I help you?
Hey, Kasozi, my brother. Long time. We last met when we were at campus. It's been a while, but you are the person I'm looking for.
Campus? Really?
Hey! You don't remember me?
Okay, so how can I help you?
I'm stuck in Gulu making millions and I need to urgently send money to my sick mother. But I can't find any mobile money agent near me. I've sent the money to your phone, as you can see the message. It might take a few minutes to come through, but I urgently need you to send the money to my mother. Let me send you her number and you send it to her chap.
My friend, I'm afraid your mom is going to die.
What?
Because I don't know you, I never went to campus, and I'm also in Gulu. So can we meet at CPS, we talk about it?
Stay tuned for what Kasozi does next.
Tofera. Refrain from unnecessary engagements with strangers over the phone. This message is powered by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that.
Okay.
The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Welcome back and thank you so much for being part of this show, Good Morning Uganda Extra, as we look at the Manifesto Week. Now, I'm reliably informed that, of course, the same has begun at Office of the President, where we are seeing a number of activity updating Ugandans on how far we have moved as a country, given the lead being NRM as the party in power. Well, we must head to that direction. But let me just have your concluding remark.
Yeah, thank you. I was highlighting the point that, you know, you mentioned the element of quality. And I must say that quality is having so many aspects within it, you know. It embraces like what the learner is learning within the schools and the person delivering the message to him, you know. So, one, as I told you, we are ensuring that the teachers are better remunerated to deliver the right, you know, information. And then secondly, the learners also, right now government has distributed over 5 million textbooks, you know, within the schools to ensure that they have the right materials to read and, you know, boost their capacity to, you know, to pass the exams that they will be ahead of them. So quality, yes, there are still challenges, but, you know, efforts are still made to ensure that we kind of build better quality learners, those that have skills. Yes.
Well, thank you so much. That is Marvin Senkungu, who happens to be an economist with the Manifesto Implementation Unit, Office of the President. Allow me now switch over to Office of the President, where the Manifesto Week that commences today and run up to the 26th, while so much has started. I hand you over there. See you tomorrow.
Is customized and grounded. So, viewers, wherever you are, today we are beginning with the Minister for Water and the Environment, who will be taking us through the performance of the manifesto commitments in his area of mandate. Honorable Minister, once again, thank you for coming, and I want to take the pleasure of inviting you here to come and make your presentation. Thank you for listening to me.